Good morning. Okay, let's try this again. Good morning. Okay, thank you. I know it's Friday morning and the weather outside is cold, but there is a lot of energy, a lot of motivation here today. So I want to encourage you to really think about what you're gonna be hearing about today. You have a number of excellent speakers who came here from countries around the world to inspire you, to help you understand what opportunities you have around the world, and I'm here to share my story as well. But before I do, I would like to thank the University of Economics in Katowice for hosting us here today. I would like to thank Vice Rector Smyczek, Professor Jembawa, and the entire team here who worked really hard over the last several months to make this happen, to make this event happen. You are here today to learn inspiring stories that will give you guidance, will give you food for thought in terms of your career and international professional journey. And I'd like you really to pay attention to these stories. I was sitting where you're sitting right now about 30 years ago, and I thought, what would my life look like? What will my life look like? What do I do? How do I engage? How do I make it happen? So I'm here to share a few stories about my experience, a few stories about how I and the university inspires our students to really give them opportunities to become global citizens, global leaders, and make change in the world. We need change. We need positive change. We need you to step up and really make it happen. So. Here's the formula. Exploration plus inspiration equals global impact. Exploration, we're going to be talking about exploring opportunities, things that you can do, journeys that you can take along the way that will inspire you and help you to understand what change you can truly make and impact lives in your communities, impact lives in your country, and impact lives around the world. I'd like to start with a definition that was provided by the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon in 2012. You are sitting here at the University of Economics in Katowice thinking about what am I gonna do? How do I engage? You're thinking about local and regional activities that you can do. I'd like you to think broader. I'd like you to think about becoming and engaging and thinking about what do I do on a global scale? How do I become a global citizen? Okay? As it says here, it takes a global outlook and global approach to solve problems. As I mentioned, we have a lot of problems, and we're going to have kind of a short framework to talk about that later. In a word, it takes global citizenship that acknowledges that each and every one of us has a responsibility to be part of the solution. You are part of the solution. You are part of the global citizenship forum that will make it happen. Understand the problems that exist in your community, understand the problems that exist in your country, understand the problems that exist in the world, and think about solutions that can make it happen. Okay? What does it mean to be a global citizen? There are a number of different definitions. I've actually outlined a few items here, a few bubbles that you can take key terms, key words from that hopefully will inspire you. Think about how to engage and how to really build those skills and competencies that will help you to become global citizen. Okay. Being a global citizen means that you need to empathize. Empathize, putting yourself in the shoes of others, understanding the problems that exist around the world, understanding the nature of the situation that the people across from you or on the other side of the world are experiencing. Global citizen is somebody who contributes to the wider world community. You don't just follow the crowd. You step up, you take initiative, you become a leader, okay? Being global citizen is about knowing the issues around the world, learning about the community, learning about the world, reading every single day the issues that come up, okay? And global citizenship is developing what's called global mindset, okay? Creating a mindset around which that you're gonna be able to actually build on and think about how that mindset will help you to make changes around the world. Let's start with the first element, which is explore. Explore to become global citizen. Again, as I mentioned, I was in your shoes about 30 years ago, thinking about what would I do? How do I engage? There are a lot of opportunities that you now have that we did not have 30 years ago. Okay, one of them is obviously access to internet, access to social media, access to information that you're able to learn a lot more than we were able to learn 30 years ago. You have access to programs, you have access to funding, you have access to opportunities that we did not have. So here are the elements that I would like you to consider for during today's session. Faculty-led trips, international internships, study abroad programs, international competitions, and local projects that would involve international companies that will help you to understand what kind of challenges that have, what kind of problems you can help them solve. So let's start with the first faculty-led trip, and this trip was conducted in 1996 by one of our faculty members, who took a group of students to South Africa. They spent a week traveling around the country. They spent a week looking at the issues, looking at exploring, sightseeing, but also understanding what South Africa was going through. During that trip, they had a chance to actually meet and visit with the leader. Recognize who that person is? Nelson Mandela. Okay? So this was a life-changing event for the students who participated in that trip. It was a life-changing event for them that would help them to actually shape the nature of their activities. It'll provide them with opportunities later on in life. So they were able to meet and discuss the challenges that South Africa was going through during that time. They realized, and I recommend that all of you actually look into and read the book that was written by Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom, that looks at the change that took place during the apartheid time in South Africa. Okay, his long walk for freedom started here in the longest shanty towns, and I'd like you to start their journey understanding what your challenges, what your local issues are, to begin your journey today. Continuing our story about explore, faculty-led trips. I've taken a number of students to many countries around the world. We've had a chance to actually visit Vietnam and Cambodia several years ago. This is a short story about that trip. We went to understand what Cambodia's and Vietnam's economies are based on, what startups look like, what issues, challenges they face, and what opportunities lie ahead of them. We've taken students to temples and various sightseeing venues. One of them is here, the famous Angkor Wat. And we also met with faculty and students from the university in Vietnam. Our students were able to truly hone in on the opportunities and challenges that students in Vietnam were facing. Here's another trip that I wanted to showcase. It's a trip to India that we took several years ago. As you can see, in addition to sightseeing, we're able to actually meet with a number of companies, and one of them is Infosys, a large multinational that our students were able to visit and understand the expansion activities that Infosys was going through. And then we're also able to meet with local leaders to understand the current issues that are shaping the India's economies. We also took students to Dubai, the UAE. We spent over a week actually understanding what Dubai's and Abu Dhabi's economies are based on, what kind of opportunities lie ahead, and what is that growth that you see is based on? How many you see all these students kind of facing and looking at the Palm, which is one of their largest projects in Dubai. To continue the Explorer story, we look at international internships. All of you are able to obtain local internships. I would encourage you to actually look into opportunities beyond your borders, beyond Poland, beyond Katowice. Companies are looking for global talent. Companies are looking for you to be able to diversify their skills, to bring more innovation, to bring more innovation and opportunities. And I'd like you to think about what you're going to do once you enter college, once you enter the University of Economics in Katowice, in terms of extracurricular activities that will help to shape your future. And this is a trip that we took to Taiwan a few years ago as well. We're able to visit TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Corporation, largest suppliers of semiconductors in the world. You're probably hearing about the situation in terms of the shortage of semiconductors in the world. Students were able to actually visit the university here, TSMC, and all the other companies and suppliers in the semiconductor industry. We're also able to actually engage students in opportunities in Germany. This is one of the examples where students are able to obtain international internship at KPMG in Germany. So the opportunities are endless. I'd like you to really consider thinking about exploring these opportunities beyond the borders of Katowice and Poland. Where do I start? Well, you start with University of Katowice. And University of Economics in Katowice is actually one of our study abroad partners. So we encourage you to explore your journey through an opportunity to study abroad. Take one semester off and then go to another country and become a student, learn, network, meet other people. As you can see, this is the map of partners that we currently have at the University of Texas at Dallas, and this is the University of Katowice. Enroll in the university, and then start thinking about what do I do, how can I explore some of these study abroad options. Why do you need study abroad? Study abroad provides you with a number of skills and competencies that are relevant to today's global workforce. Companies are looking for global talent that has all of these skills and competencies that I'm not going to go through all of this, but I'd like you to really think about what it means that companies are looking for. You should be able to adapt to new cultures, to new environments. You should be able to collaborate with multicultural environments. You should be able to understand and empathize, put yourself in the shoes of others. You should be able to have confidence and initiative to take the next steps. You should be able to be curious. You should be able to think about ways to develop your decision making that's based on your relationships with other countries. Take leadership, managing uncertainty. As you travel around the world, you're going to be able to face uncertainty, find yourself in situations that you're not able to find easy and quick answers. How do I navigate through those problems? How do I find ways to come up with solutions that are going to give me basically the way to solve that problem? Self-awareness. One of the authors here, one of the speakers here has written a book about self-awareness as well. Understanding yourself, understanding what your limitations are, understanding what your gaps are, and understanding how you're going to be able to actually develop the skills and competencies to bridge those gaps. Teamwork. You're able to actually work with others regardless of where they are, where they come from. Global skills, cross-cultural skills, foreign language. Most of you are fluent already in English, from what I understand. I'd like you to explore, I'd like you to really improve and build on your knowledge and to apply that knowledge in business environment. Global context, global perspective, and intercultural sensitivity. Those are the top skills that companies are looking for. Those are the top skills and competencies that you're going to be able to really apply in the business world. Take part in global competitions or international competitions. There are ways that you can engage in person or virtually that will help you to shape and apply and learn all of these skills that I just mentioned. Problem solving, thinking about creative ways that companies may benefit from your innovation, from your from your input. Please take time to find those opportunities. One of the opportunities that this university has engaged in is with a number of students from UT Dallas in terms of virtual global competition that we host every single year to help one of our local companies to find ways to create their global strategy. This particular event took place in Lithuania several years ago, when we took a group of students who participated in what's called a global social impact competition. They were trying to find solutions to problems that would not only solve the problems of the business, but also positively impact the community that the business was part of. And our students actually placed second in that competition. That opened doors to a lot more engagement in terms of international activities. Take part in your local events. Take part and participate in activities that are related, that are regional, that are local, that help you understand what the world looks like. This is a venture that we started several years ago. It's called Global Development Initiative. It brings partners and it creates ecosystem that all of these partners are part of. So you are here in the middle, but then you are part of this ecosystem with other university partners, with community and cultural and association partners, with industry partners, and with the economic development, which are the people who are trying to actually build this region, build this city, build this community. Find a way to make a difference. Find a way to bring your friends, find a way to reach out and find a way to really connect with others around the world to improve your future. This is one of the examples of the Global Development Initiative where we were asked to develop a basic market analysis for small and medium-sized companies from Japan that were trying to expand their operations in Dallas. What you want to do is try to really understand, again, empathize, put yourself in the shoes of that company, trying to see what the problems they would face by coming to the United States, by setting their operations in Dallas. What do we need to do? What do we need to have to be successful? Here's another quote. You have the talent, energy, and ideals to prevent conflicts, defend human rights, secure peace, and realize the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. I'd like you to pause for a second and think about this quote. Think about it, how it applies to you, and what you can do to explore and to be able to be part of this agenda. Most of you have probably seen this, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals framework that outlines the problems that all of us are trying to address. These problems exist in your city, in your country, in the world. And I'd like you to think about what you can do individually to really make a difference. Take one of these. You all see, you all are faced with these problems on a daily basis. What can I do as an individual? What can I do as a future student of the University of Economics in Katowice to address these problems? What can you do? Take initiative, be a leader. These are some of the top 10 practices from Admiral McRaven in the United States. Start each day with a task completed. Find someone to help you through life. You all need mentors. You all need somebody who can provide you with guidance. Please don't do it alone. You all need somebody who can actually help to shape your future journey. Respect everyone. Know that life is not fair and that you will fail often. Failure is part of life. Failure is part of learning. So the more you fail, the more you're going to be able to learn and take those lessons and apply in future endeavors. Take risks. Take risks. Step up when times are toughest. Face down the bullies, lift up the downtrodden, give people hope, and never give up. And be a servant leader. These are the top 10 that I would encourage you to think about and try to apply on a daily basis. I'd like to go through a short example of how our students were able to create global impact. After they explored, they wanted to inspire, they wanted to make a change. So in 2018, they realized that there was a problem in one of the cities and communities in Ethiopia. They realized that because of electricity shortage, people are not able to preserve food. People are not able to store, as you all can, put it in the fridge and keep it for a few days, weeks. So we realized that we wanted to pose this challenge to our students and say, what can you do to make this, to change their livelihood, to preserve their food, fruit and meats? And the students identified several problems. They also came up with a really interesting solution. Why don't we try to dehydrate some of the fruits and vegetables that the community will be able to store for months ahead? They created a business plan. They took all of this in their own hands. They started to raise funding. They went to South Africa to actually purchase a machine that would allow them to dehydrate fruits. And this is the result. By partnering with the city, we were able to obtain the building that you see, but the building had no water. You had very little electricity. More problems. How do you overcome those problems? As you can see, our water source was far away. How do you bring water? You actually use donkeys and local help to actually bring that water to the facility. We had a number of women that stepped up and took ownership and leadership and encouraged others basically to implement what we were trying to do. So it took several weeks to get all of these women on board, train them, to be able to actually package, and what they are doing right now is actually packaging dehydrated mango fruit to be able to resell to their communities and store for months. And we've done it with fruits, we've done it with vegetables, we've done it with meats. So you can plan all you want from where you're sitting, but you don't really understand the real problem until you actually get to the place, and that was the case with Ethiopia. It took us weeks basically to understand what the real problems were, what the root causes were, and how do we need to change and adjust our plan to be able to address and implement problems. So this is the result. Women are happy, employed, and the goal is actually to ask these ladies to be trained trainers, to take the knowledge, to take what we've done together, the collaboration, and be able to actually train others to make the change in the country, to make a change in not only in their community, but in the province, in the state, in the region, and in the country. We've also utilized the help of local students. Students from the University of Mekelle in Ethiopia stepped up and really wanted to help to bridge the gap between the knowledge gap and bridge the training gap between all these parties. So I'd like to leave you with this quote from Mark Twain. 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than the ones that you did do. So throw off the bowlines, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, discover, and be a global change maker. Thank you.
Professor Hubert Zydorek, thank you very much. And now it's time for your questions. Maybe you have something on your mind, maybe some ideas, very interesting speech, some very interesting topics, issues. So what are your opinions? Maybe you would like to share your opinion with Professor, with all of us.
So let me ask you a question. How do you currently, how can you get involved in your local communities? How can you get involved in international projects?
Well, maybe we have some, viewers, some people who are watching us online, but they cannot ask questions. So you never know. Maybe it's too early. Maybe, we all need to wake up somehow. What I can say, it was really very inspiring, and I totally agree with all what you were saying. My experience concerning traveling abroad and looking for chances abroad, concerning education, concerning, developing ideas and skills. When I was 20-something years old, it was, the 80s, and Poland was a different country, and we had a different system, which you, of course, know. And still, I managed to find ways to get 2 scholarships and go to the UK and then to the USA for 2 scholarships. One of them was at Lambda, which is London Academy of Music and Dramatic Arts. And I spent a year in London in 1985, which was an amazing experience and priceless experience, and I will never forget it. And was, you know, and then another thing, a month in the USA. It was 1988. Well, what I'm saying is that it was really difficult to get scholarship to go to the UK or go to the USA from Poland, from the communist Poland in the 80s. But still, I somehow managed to do it. Now, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's just there. So you just have to grab it and take your opportunities. So I absolutely fully agree. If we don't have any questions now, maybe during the coffee break. Oh, we have a question. We have two questions, Professor. As speaker.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the motivational talk. It reminded me of something from my experiences teaching. And maybe many of us have this, or maybe many of us have seen this, but teaching business students, you know, academically, right, broad spectrum. Some of them were A-level students, some were C or D-level students, right? Thinking back to the ones that got, you know, I taught seniors in college. So thinking back to the ones that were successful, that got good jobs, that got good job offers, a lot of the times it wasn't necessarily the A students, right? A lot of the times it was the B and C students who took the initiative, who reached out to their university, who found opportunities to do internships, to take these travels, to go on these experiences, to become well-rounded individuals. Certainly A students can also do that as well. But I found that these students that took these opportunities that you're speaking about became very well-rounded individuals who were exciting to talk to, and I think that broad knowledge they have, that diversity of knowledge they had, it translated to their success and their future in their you know, professional endeavors, but also just in their sense of well-being. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and they tend to come back for more. If you do it once, you tend to come back for more. You tend to engage in a lot more opportunities throughout your academic journey. So,
We have a question over there.
Thank you very much for your speech. I would like to ask, what skills would be the most important ones in this changing world on the job market, when the machines will do more and more things and people will have to manage all these changes? And I'm curious about that because I know that you have a lot of experience in business. So what are the future directors, managers? Thank you.
thank you for your question. So think about this. Technology is for people, not the other way around, right? So if you look at all those skills, working with people, understanding the problems is number one. Understanding how we can apply technology to solve world problems, not the other way around. We had a conference a couple weeks ago where they talked about technology from the point of we need all these tools, all these future technologies, but the question is, how do you apply this to the framework that you saw from the United Nations, right? So you find the problem, you try to come up with a solution, and then you try to apply the technology the new technology that whether it's AI, whether it's IoT or anything else. So the goal is to understand the problems, understand how do you come up with the solution, and then how do you apply the technology that exists at that point in time. So all the skills and competencies that I mentioned are super relevant. Those are the people skills, soft skills, right? That you need to actually hone in and perfect before you look into gaining everything else.